Gas Authority of India Limited, Mr. B.C. Tripathi, the CMD, joins us to talk about a variety of issues. I mean, there have been some NELP blocks that have been allotted, and there are a couple of news bits as well with regards to GAIL. So to get in Mr. Tripathi to talk about all of that. Good to have you, Mr. Tripathi. Thanks for joining me. This is Neeraj Shah here. Good morning. Let's start off with talking about the NELP blocks.
Good morning to you.
Thanks. Let's start off with talking about the NELP blocks which have been awarded yesterday. How many blocks have you got going? And also, just going forward, what are the E&P plans from these blocks, as well as the interest that you've already had in exploration services?
Yesterday, in the 9th round of blocks which were finalized, we signed the contract for the 4 blocks where we have partnered with our sister company ONGC, Oil India and other host of private companies. And in 2 of the blocks, we will be working as an operator on land blocks. And the 2 blocks are in the shallow water where ONGC will be the operators. With that, we will have almost 32 blocks in the portfolio of GAIL, where the various stages of activities are on at this stage of time. And as a cautious decision, we have decided to take almost 10% of annual capex for the upstream E&P activities, and will continue to maintain that kind of moderate level of investment in the E&P.
Mr. Tripathi, good morning and thanks for taking time out. You've also recently had transmission as well as marketing targets for FY13, and that is something the market and analyst fraternity extremely upbeat about. What's the growth that you are estimating that you've hiked your targets?
Well, in transmission, as you know, we are transmitting almost 120 to 125 million standard cubic meter a day on a day-to-day basis. And we expect this to grow almost 10% in this FY13 from the current level.
Okay. You've also recently indicated, Mr. Tripathi, that Dabhol, the capacity in Dabhol will be doubled to 10 million per year. What's the update on the LNG terminal there? By when can we see the project commissioning? And the other part of the question is, are you open to leasing out a part of the terminal or even selling part stake in individual terminals to companies?
You know, the Dabhol is almost a 10-year-old asset, and there have been various technical and the commercial issues, environmental issues, but now we are very close to commissioning. All the online activities have been completed, marine activities have been completed. We are expecting the custom clearance any moment today, and the commissioning cargo has already arrived. It's just ready to berth now any moment from today. So all the preparations are on to commission the LNG terminal sometime by mid of April. It will take a couple of weeks for us to commission it. Being an old asset, all the safety precautions and procedures are being followed. So therefore, it may take 2 weeks' time for us to commission the LNG terminal. Going forward, depending upon the growth in the domestic market, we may expand it straightway from 5 million to 10 million tons, or we may go in a phased manner from 5 million to 7.5 million tons in first phase, and the second phase going from 7.5 to 10 million tons. But I expect in next 4 to 5 years' time, 5 years' time from now, we should be reaching a capacity of at least 10 million tons at Dabhol.
Yeah.
As regard the third question which you have asked regarding the tolling arrangements, as of now there is no such plan. The total terminal is available with GAIL for next 25 years, wherein we will be utilizing the capacity to meet the requirement of Dabhol LNG terminal and the Dabhol power plants, as well as for the merchant sale.
So you would not look to lease it out at all to any private players who may be interested in taking a part of that capacity on a lease purpose?
As of now, there are no such plan, but going forward, depending upon the market position, we may revisit this issue, but as of today, there are no plans like that.
Tripathi, we understand that you're also keen on buying Mukesh Ambani's pipeline company, RGTIL. Could you confirm that for us? What kind of valuations do you see for that asset, and when is it that you're likely to close the deal?
Well, I'm also hearing this news from the media. I have no such clue at this stage, and it will be too premature for me to comment on this issue. But that's true, the transmission has been the core business of GAIL. And going forward, as the situation emerges, we will take a suitable view.
So you would look at opportunities?
As I said, transmission is definitely the core activity of GAIL, and if something happens, we will take a suitable view at that time.
I was about to say, Mr. Tripathi, that the smile on your face probably revealed more than it hid, but nevertheless, your answer is candid enough. The other bit, Mr. Tripathi, is that, just wondering on the business end, what's the update on the petrochemical side of the business? I mean, how are you planning to grow that over the period of the next 2.5 years?
You see, if you look at the petrochemical at this time, there's a pretty good response from the market, both in terms of demand and as far as the realization is coming, it's doing good. And we are already executing 3 petrochemical projects in the country, one directly by GAIL, where we are building the second petrochemical plant in Uttar Pradesh in the district of Etawah. And Assam Gas Cracker, which is a subsidiary of GAIL, where GAIL holds 70% equity, is also under construction, which should also be commissioned sometime by end 2013 calendar year. The third one is with our sister company Opal, where we hold as of now 19% equity stake, and the marketing rights are there to the extent of 40%. Put together, all these 3 projects will be commissioned sometime by financial year 2013-14 end, and maybe first quarter of FY14, depending upon how the project progresses. With this, the total portfolio of GAIL from the current level of almost 500,000 ton will go to 1.7 million ton.
Mr. Tripathi, there were also reports that you may be looking at divesting your 4.82% stake in China Gas Holdings as well. Have you decided on that yet?
No, not yet. We are evaluating various options at this stage, and the due diligence process is on.
Okay. One final word, Mr. Tripathi. I mean, there was talk of you targeting a stake in Cove Energy along with ONGC. Could you confirm that for us? Is that on the anvil?
I think I would say I have no comment to offer in these questions at this stage.
Okay, then let's just stop. I mean, before we thank you, Mr. Tripathi, how do you believe growth of GAIL would be for FY13? I mean, we've almost completed FY12, so I mean, how has FY12 been over FY11 and possibly the next 12 months? What kind of growth do you envisage for GAIL?
See, both in FY12 as well as the coming FY13, we'll be registering a growth of almost 20% both in top line and the bottom line for this year as well as for the next year.
Okay, Mr. Tripathi, so good to have you on the show. Appreciate you taking the time out and hope that you join us more often in future on ET Now.